All right. So we finally got a question here from Frank. Before I let him in, let me read it to you, Brian. He said, if I win Social Security disability, can I live in the Philippines? How would doctor visits go in the Philippines? Would Social Security accept doctors' visits from Filipino doctors?
Oh,
So,
great. Bring him in.
all right. Hi, Frank.
Or should we say mabuhay?
Mabuhay.
Frank,
Yeah.
you're here. Your microphone is muted and your camera's off. So your mic, if you would look on your Zoom console, there you go. You got that figured out.
All right.
There.
Great.
How are you guys? I'm sure you guys are enjoying the Philippines. I love that place.
Do you? So you've been here?
My wife is Filipino.
Oh,
Oh.
So I've been there a couple of times, and I love it over there.
yeah.
Yeah. So here's my question. My question is, if I apply for Social Security disability and I win the case, can I live over there in the Philippines? And then if I do live over there, can I see the doctors over there, and how would medications work and stuff like that?
Right. That's a great question. So here's the situation with the Social Security disability recipients. Is they have a 6-month rule where if you're outside of the country for more than 6 months, then your benefits could be jeopardized. They could stop your benefits, right? So you have to take that into consideration. I mean, if you are able to come here and then go back and, cycle back every 6 months, then that could check that box. So, and I understand the flights are expensive and all that, but you have to, again, you have to factor that in. So if you can get that taken care of, then you do. And depending on your medical situation, and when you return to the U.S. and you can get your doctoring in to meet your criteria. So, for example, if you've got something that just requires periodic checkups, like a physical injury, then that could work. If you have something that has a treatment regime that is advised that you see doctors in the States monthly, then that's going to be an issue. There's a slight exception to that, is if you're also a veteran, then you could use the VA that is in the Manila area, if that's where you happen to end up in the Philippines. So that's the big picture, Frank, for if you're a disability recipient. Now, when you reach full retirement age, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay, well, you got a ways to go. But for those of you listening out there, when you reach full retirement age, then you are not subject to what I just mentioned. You can live anywhere. You could live here.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah. And also your Medicare doesn't work outside of the US, and that's the way it is for anyone. So the expats that live here, in the conversations that I've had, like in the beginning of the program, they're using local doctors, treatment, and they have different insurance or paying cash to do so.
And Social Security would accept those documents if you do win that case and you're seeing the doctors monthly, and then you go back for the 6 months just to meet that requirement.
No, so if you're a disability recipient, you need to see doctors in the U.S.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But I was to just make sure we're clear here. If you're like on full retirement benefits, then that's what I meant by that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Then I have one more question. So I'm still working right now. I'm working full time. I make decent money as a electrician. And I was looking at my Social Security uh, on SSA.gov, and
Yeah.
it says that I'd be making at retirement age $3,833. So is that the amount that I would be getting if I were to win the Social Security benefit? Be granted that?
It would be close to that. If you poke around in there, it will show you the disability amount, Frank, and it's usually like within like 5 to 7% of it. So you've done well financially because you're at like the higher end of, um, the check amount.
Right.
But yeah, that is it. So another way to look at your Social Security disability check amount is it's the equivalent of what you would receive at full retirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right.
So where in the Philippines do you come when you come over here? Like, where's your wife from?
Bohol.
Oh,
Yeah, Bohol.
that's a beautiful island.
Yeah. I love it over there. It's very nice, very peaceful, and the people
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So your career really isn't, well, I mean, you could do the work here. Actually, we have somebody who works with us whose husband is an electrician, but it's not like you have an online job where you could, like do what I'm doing. It's very tangible, right?
right. No, it's something that wouldn't transfer over well, unless I'm
Yeah.
getting in there or possibly managing people or consulting or something like that.
Right. Right.
But with my conditions that I have right now, I'm right now in the second month of documentation and just going to doctors and stuff like that, and
Okay.
I'm trying to pin down the diagnosis that I have, because it's either the rheumatologist is saying it's possibly psoriatic arthritis or fibromyalgia. They don't know what's going on with my joints, but my joints in my hand and knees and hips, they're pretty stiff, and obviously it's causing me issues. And I've had an awesome career as an electrician, making very, very good money, as you could tell by
Yeah.
my disability stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I do go to the through the process and they see my earnings, would that show that, hey, this guy really is not faking it, because he made pretty good money throughout his career?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Frank. Credibility is a key thing. And like when you go through the process, especially if you unfortunately have to go to a hearing, which at your age, because you're under 50, it's just high probability that, a judge is going to look at your situation and say, why would Frank, do you have children?
I do. I have a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Okay. Yeah. So any judge with common like street sense, or if you use representation, they're going to point it out, saying that he's got children, he's a big wage earner. Yeah, so that definitely does help you. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to speak medically, but I have worked and helped uh, a lot of people with fibromyalgia get approved. And what you explained to me, maybe you do have fibromyalgia, but the typical symptoms for fibromyalgia, even in men, and it's like 5% of the diagnoses are for men, are not consistent with that specific joint. It's usually overall pain, like you feel like you have the flu 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you got a case of CRS, like you can't remember shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
brain fog. But so it could be a combination. It's something that's going on there with your joints, and maybe they can figure out what it is, get it diagnosed, treated, and go on your way. Hopefully, it's always better, especially for you with kids and family in your age, to keep working.
Well, of course, that's the goal, but um, I'm going to a slew of doctors. I went to a psychiatrist and been diagnosed with, I guess they say, medical depression.
Yep.
Depression is caused by your medical condition. So I have that. I got the pain management doctor for my lower back pain. So, um, it's all, I'm trying to make sure that I'm lining everything up as it should. So like this, I can prove it if I decide to go that route. But can I do anything else? Any other recommendation other than see my doctors? Um,
Right.
to
So
make sure that this is, yeah.
that's a good question. And right now, what you're telling me is pretty textbook as far as what we coach. Have you been following us for a while?
I've been watching your videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're going and doing your doctoring, uh, let's just drill down on that. Are you communicating your limitations and making sure those are getting in the record?
Yeah. So I have they give me these patient portals, my charts,
Yeah.
and I make sure that a lot of numbness in my hands, dropping my tools, you know, I had to take a couple of breaks due to the stiffness in my hands. I'm waking up early in the morning, and I feel extreme stiffness that, yeah, I got to pull over on the side of the road a couple of times just to rest my back because I have an hour commute to the city from where I live. So all that stuff that they're putting into the record. My last pain management appointment, they had nothing in the record, so I messaged her through the my chart portal to put certain things into my record just to make sure and see the progress. That's how I worded it because I think that's how you worded it
Yeah.
in one of your
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah. No, I think you're doing good. I would just add to that, Frank, the more specific you can be with your limitations, an example being, I can drive for 30 minutes, then I have to stop and take a 10-minute break, and that I got to get up and get out of the car. For your tools, if there's lifting restrictions or the amount of time that you can hold them, or when in the day you have grip challenges and for how long. So just continue to refine. Maybe you're doing this already and you're just explaining it generally, which is great. But I just want to echo the point that I think you're doing a really good job. And just make sure that detail is in there, and then follow up in the patient portal and make sure that it's being recorded properly. Yeah.
Okay. How many doctors visits should I? It's a good amount of number of times to go and see the doctor before I stop working, and then continue seeing the doctor. Like, what's a good amount of? Is it a year, 6 months? What do you think?
That's a tough question. I've got to just go back to the man in the mirror and looking at it and say, how much can you take before you have to stop working? I wouldn't let the doctors or some specific external number drive it. It's Frank. And then when you can't do it, or it's really impacting your performance, or it's becoming unhealthy for you, which it already is because you've got medical depression, then you have to make the decision. A way you could look at this is, with your age and you have an unclear diagnosis, which it would be really good to get that tightened up to find out what's causing it.
Yeah.
is, say I'm going to, if you're not able to work, just pursue the process for a closed period of disability, which a closed period is get on benefits with the concept that, I got to figure this out and get it treated, get better, and then I can get back in the game. That is, I think that for some people, it's a really healthy mindset because it's not permanent. It's just a step.
Okay. All right. So essentially what you're saying is get that diagnosis first before
Yeah.
do anything.
I want you to think about it this way. And if you see the camera, there's key factors to the disability approval process and keeping your benefits. One is the diagnosis. They need to know what it is. 2 is the treatment. And 3 is the limitations. And then proving all of that. So you don't have the diagnosis, but you've got the treatment and you've got the limitations. So while you kind of have the treatment, it's difficult to have proper treatment if you don't know what you're treating. So that's really a top priority for you right now, is to get that diagnosis. Yeah. Some other people have found help with support groups on the conditions. Like, this is what's going on with me. I've known people, like we had a lady, Christine, who worked here. It took her 11 years to get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and she had it bad. It put her in a wheelchair. So I just encourage people to be really proactive. So if you're in a treatment environment and your treatment team isn't getting it, keep looking.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Frank, I have a question for you.
yes.
My hunch is you're somewhere in the northeastern part of the U.S. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. New York?
Yep.
Oh, let me see if I can get it down to the zip code.
You probably could. You probably could.
I haven't been stalking you. No. I can. Yeah, I mean, your people, if you will, have a very unique, distinct accent, and I appreciate it. So yeah.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for everything you do. Keep pumping out the good info, and I'll definitely be reaching out to one of the advocates as I start getting closer to this thing.
No, we appreciate you. Thanks for being a member, following the directions, and we're here to help you. All right?
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank.